This VAWatchdog.org news video is brought to you by Bergman and Moore, LLC. Former VA attorneys now fighting VA for you. Call Bergman and Moore at 877-838-2889 or on the web at vetlawyers.com.
Well, multiple tours in Iraq and Afghanistan are stressing the ranks of the U.S. Army. Last year, the Army reported 128 suicides, and in January of this year alone, there were 24 suspected suicides. One officer who knows the painful reality of suicide is Major General Mark Graham. Not a day goes by that he doesn't think about his sons. Second Lieutenant Jeffrey Graham, 23, killed by a roadside bomb in Iraq. The young leader was protecting his platoon. But this is where the pain intensifies even more for General Graham, because he lost his youngest son first. Kevin Graham, 21, a top ROTC student at the University of Kentucky, hanged himself June 21st, 2003. No one knew that he was depressed, and for him, the enemies within were worse than those on any battlefield. His dad, Major General Mark Graham, joins me live from Colorado Springs. Sir, good to see you.
Hi, Kara. Thanks for asking me.
Well, I know this is tough for you to talk about, but boy, when you do, people listen, and you've done amazing things to draw attention to the issue of this, an issue that we're seeing getting bigger and bigger by the day. And I just want to go back for a moment, if you don't mind. And there's a picture within your family album that I think about. It moves me. I think it's going to touch everybody out there that understands just what it takes to be a military father. And that's your boys pinning you when you were becoming major. What do you remember about that day, about your relationship with your boys, and how they interacted with you and just loved you and respected you so much?
Well, I remember that day I didn't really want to do a promotion ceremony. You know, oftentimes we like to just get promoted quietly and keep serving. But I remember my boss was adamant about it, that the family would be there as well. So we did the promotion, and I took my jacket off and knelt down, and my boys each pinned me. Our daughter was a little girl at the time, Melanie. And I just remember those times with the kids and how wonderful times we had with our boys and also with our daughter. We used to do a lot together. Oftentimes I would say, you know, gosh, aren't we kind of going overboard with some of these events? And my wife, Carol, would oftentimes say, you know, if it's worth doing, it's worth overdoing. We would do a lot, and of course now we don't regret any of the things we did with our kids, and we're a very close family and spent many times with them. Instead of doing other things, we did family things instead.
You did a lot of that. And you know, Kevin was young, he was strong, he was the top ROTC cadet. Did you know that he was struggling with depression this badly?
We knew he was struggling with depression. We knew he was on medication. He went on medication, we think, that fall of 2002, and he was on Prozac. And we knew he was struggling with depression, but I will tell you, we did not know depression could kill you. We did not know you could die from depression. And suicide, of course, is the result. Kevin came off his medication, we understand, prior to this happening, and it's important for people to know that sometimes depression medications take weeks before they actually start working. And once they start working, you need to continue to take them unless you go to a doctor's care. You can't just stop taking them because the side effects can become exacerbated because of that.
And General, you know, there's this stigma within the military that you got to be a man, you got to suck it up, you can't deal with post-traumatic stress, you can't deal with depression. And you probably dealt with a lot of that as you were coming up through the military. Now that you have seen how this affects the young men and women and your son, what do you tell the military about that attitude of got to be tough, got to suck it up, don't deal with this stuff?
Well, a few things. One is every door that a soldier walks through for help needs to be the right door. When a soldier goes and asks for help, they need to go to a door that's open to them and that they can get help. And we think we're fixing that. The senior leaders of our military, Admiral Mullen and the Chief of Staff, General Casey, and the Vice Chief, General Corelli, are personally involved in this. We want to make sure our soldiers know it's a sign of strength, not weakness, to come forward and get help. But you know, we train our soldiers to be hard, to be tough for a fight, because their life depends on it. So we do that. We also train them to help those fellow soldiers that are hurt or wounded. And if a soldier's got a broken leg, they know exactly what to do. They take them for help. So what we're trying to do now is get in front of suicide to help our Army understand the warning signs. What are the signs? What do you do if a soldier starts feeling sad, if he starts seeing that sad feeling in him, or if they're not sleeping? or if their attitude changes, or they start drinking too much, what do? Well, you do something. You don't just say, hey, you know, I'm worried about you. You need to take care of that. You take care of that. You know, we have a program in the Army called the ACE program, Ask, Care, and Escort. You ask soldiers. Many times people years ago, and part of the national stigma, I think, bigger than the Army, is, you know, don't talk about suicide because it might lead someone to do that. Well, people that die by suicide, you need to ask the question, are you thinking of harming yourself or someone else? Are you thinking of killing yourself and dying by suicide? And if they respond that they're thinking about that or they've thought about that, you need to care for them, listen to them, let them talk to you, and then escort them. Don't recommend they see someone. Physically go with them. Say, let me go with you. Let me take you to get some help and be with them. Be with them. We do the buddy system in the Army for so many things. We need to continue to do it here. But we've got to get left of suicide. We've got to get to before suicide occurs. Know the warning signs, just like you do with anything else in the Army. If somebody's hurting, if somebody gets injured or hurt, you take them for care. We need to help our soldiers and our leaders understand what are those signs so that we can take them for care.
And I know all of this has definitely not only changed your life forever, but also your leadership style. I know that you've talked about it's made you more compassionate. And, sir, I appreciate you being so direct and sharing the advice for our viewers. And I don't want to forget, as we talk about Kevin and remember what you've learned, I also would like to lift up Jeff as well. Your son Jeff was killed due to a roadside bomb when that exploded in Iraq. He actually died saving his platoon. So we remember both your sons, and we salute you for your efforts. And I appreciate so much your time, Major General Mark Graham.
Well, thank you, Karen.
And the General and I are going to be in Washington actually next week for an event hosted by an incredible group called TAPS. They actually assist military members and their families as they deal with the death of a loved one, whether it's suicide or death in combat. And we're putting up TAPS web address and phone number for you. The website is taps.org and the number 1-800-959 TAPS. There's always someone at that number around the clock to help you with anything that you are dealing with and support you. You can also get involved with being a mentor, which is exactly what General Graham is doing. He actually spends time mentoring young men who have lost a loved one in combat.
VAWatchdog.org, the nation's #1 independent veterans website. On the web at VAWatchdog.org.